Alright guys, so Club de Nuit Precieux 1 or Precious 1 is finally here. So I want to give you my full thoughts on the fragrance and see if this stuff lives up to the hype or not. I'll try not to spend too much time on the presentation since I know a lot of people have been talking about this, but basically you can see this is the box it comes in. It has a rubber flap and inside is a nice description of the fragrance, which kind of gives you a very lengthy description of what the notes are in the fragrance. So here's the bottle and it is an absolute fingerprint magnet. So one thing to note is this is a 55 ml fragrance and it is an extrait, so it is a higher concentration. So the word before this was released and the guess was that this was going to be a clone of the limited Creed Absolu Aventus. I do have a decan of that, so I will compare the two fragrances and let you know my thoughts on that as well. Alright, so let's get into this scent right away here. So when I first spray it, I get a lot of bright and fresh citrus notes. I mainly get a lot of fresh bergamot, a little bit of lemon, and some subtle sweetness underneath. Maybe that's the pineapple popping out, but to me it is more fresh and zesty as opposed to sweet and fruity. So compare that to the top notes listed on Fragrantica. There's also pear, pink pepper, caramel, and black pepper. Personally, I don't really get any of that or smell that at all. So comparing the opening to Creed, it is fairly close, but the Creed version is a little bit lighter and sits more close to my skin, and it's more of a dominant bergamot scent, and I don't really get those other nuances like I do with the Armaf version. So once those top notes start to fade away a little bit in the Precieux 1, I start to notice a little bit more of that ambroxan and pink pepper that's really popular in a lot of today's fragrances. It's still very fresh, but it is starting to develop into a little bit more of a spicy and woody fragrance. So once it dries down, it still kind of keeps the same scent profile, but a little bit of leather starts to come out. Now it's not a very strong leather scent. It's definitely noticeable, but it's more of a supporting note, at least to my nose. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of leather fragrances, but this doesn't bother me and it actually works really well with all the other notes. So compare that to the Creed Absolu Aventus. The Creed version doesn't really go into the ambroxan and leather side. It stays more spicy and fresh. The Creed also seems to stick a little bit closer to my skin and does not seem to project as much. So the Creed version is a little bit more fresh, and the Club de Nuit Precieux seems to be a little bit more earthy and masculine and leathery. Overall, I really like the way this fragrance smells. Personally, I like it so much better than the regular Club de Nuit Intense Man. That is a little bit more harsh, synthetic, and it seems like they took a little bit more time with this fragrance, and it also seems like they use a little bit better quality ingredients, which you would hope for considering the price point at, I think I paid $58 for this, which that's not cheap considering this is a 55 ml bottle. So let's talk about performance. So performance on this is pretty good. I get about 8 hours of longevity out of this, maybe just a little bit more. To me, this is a very versatile fragrance that can be worn throughout the year. And I will say that the very first time that I opened this and sprayed it, right after that, I walked downstairs and within 5 minutes, my wife called me upstairs and I had no idea what she wanted, but she asked me, hey, what's that fragrance you're wearing? That smells great. I haven't smelled that one yet. Hey guys, I do want to stop right there. If you like reviews of Middle Eastern clone fragrances as well as designer fragrances, do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this. So should you pick this up, look, this stuff smells great. I love it. It's my favorite Armaf fragrance that I have. It just depends. Do you want to spend $60 on a new hype train fragrance that actually really does smell good? Or do you have another fragrance that you've been eyeballing? You can get a ton of fragrances in this price point. Either way, this fragrance smells awesome. It's extremely versatile. You can wear this any season, and I love to wear this during the summertime because of that really fresh and bright opening.